Hi, I'm Jolina Okazaki with NewWest 9 Sunrise, and I am partnering with Downtown Odessa for another virtual painting class, so thank you so much for joining us. If you have joined us in our previous classes, we did some of the holiday specials, but this one's gonna be really fun because now you get to work with a partner for a couples special. So while we are all still in the middle of a pandemic and practicing safe social distancing, this is gonna be really fun for a nice date night. So we're gonna get started. Okay, so the first step you're gonna do when you're painting your flamingos is eventually they're gonna turn out looking like this, okay? So when you put them together, kind of looks like a heart. So that's what it's gonna look like in the end. So we'll take things step by step and make it easier. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get your white, okay? Yeah, it's fine. Using the sponge, you're going to wipe it on your canvas, but make sure you kind of eliminate this little piece right here, the top corner. If you're sitting on the right, make sure the top right corner, you just avoid this little triangular piece. If you're on the left, make sure you, yes, eliminate the top left corner.
How far down?
Kind of like a triangle like here. Okay. Make this white line. Hopefully you guys can see that on camera. So this is Dan. He's going to be doing the male flamingo. Have you painted before?
25 years ago.
25 years ago, okay. So if you guys aren't so artistic or maybe you haven't painted in a while, it's okay. This is all a learning experience for everyone. And this is fun while everyone is social distancing. I don't think I've done like
do the whole thing?
Yeah, so do the whole thing. So paint the whole thing. And it's a little easier to use the sponge brush since you have more coverage here. So a tip that you guys can think about is whenever you are painting, if you add a thin layer, the paint will dry faster. And the reason why is because it is acrylic paint. So if you are planning to paint, make sure you are using a water cup, because we have a little water cup here. Let me just show you right here. You always want to dip your paint in there because eventually the paint is going to dry on the brush and it's going to leave this kind of plasticky residue and you don't want that. So just paint the entire thing and you're just going to do little layers. Also make sure you're wearing clothes that you don't mind getting dirty because acrylic paint will stain. So just that all on your canvas. Okay, it's kind of hard to see some of the white because you're painting white on white, but make sure you kind of have everything covered except for the top corner. Okay, that looks good. All right, good. Now the next part you're going to do is you're going to use that same brush and lightly, just a little bit, dip some of that blue with your brush. I'm not using a lot because you don't want too much. And here's what you're gonna do. If you're sitting on the right, make sure the top blue is facing this corner. Likewise with the left, yeah, you wanna make sure this part is like that when you're painting, okay? All right, now you're going to go ahead and start with the top corner and then make your way down. And this is going to be your background. So basically what's happening here is you're creating this nice little gradient. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just makes a nice little background for your flamingo. And you want to do this while the white paint is still wet because this is how you kind of blend everything together.
I need to get better with the gradient here.
No, it looks good.
Okay.
It looks great. So mine is a little lighter, but I think what I'm going to do is dip a little more.
One more blue?
Yours looks good. You want to keep going?
Yeah, a little bit more.
Okay. So I'll do the same. So make sure you're kind of going the same angle. And if at any point you kind of notice your paint is drying up a little bit, what you can do is dip into some of the white again and then brush on top of where the colors are divided, and that will blend everything together.
What do you think? Should I make a move?
I think yours looks great. Okay, so now we're gonna let this dry, and make sure you wash off your brushes so the acrylic paint does not dry on your brush. So while we let this dry, we'll be back in about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we're gonna get started on the flamingo. Now that this is dry, we're gonna move on to the next step. And you're gonna use you have 2 brushes. You have the pointed brush and then you have the flat brush. So you're gonna use the flat brush for this. So using the palette that they gave you, we got 3 shades of pink. So we dipped a little bit for the black and then a little bit of white for the light pink. Real quick, I just wanted to show you how I made the light pink and the dark pink. So using the light pink, basically what I did is I used the flat brush that Downtown Odessa gave you, and then you're gonna dip that into the white. Then you're gonna mix that. So you should have this nice light pink color, and if you feel like it should be lighter, then don't be afraid to put some more white in there. But I think this is okay for right now. Now to make the dark pink, what you're gonna do is you're gonna use a little bit of black. So I have the black right here. I'm gonna dip a little bit, not that much. The key here is you don't wanna add too much of the black. Then I'm gonna mix that. And sometimes the dark pink will come out a little tinted, so it's gonna look a little purple, but I think this is looking fine. So that might look a little too dark, but it's okay to have some of those values when you are adding some of the shadows in your flamingo's wing. Using just the regular pink that you got, you are going to create a heart. So give yourself about 2 inches from the top of the canvas. Kind of space it out a little bit. Let's see, 2, and then let's say right here. Just kind of make a heart, half a heart. Now your partner is going to do the same thing.
Try to mimic it.
Exactly.
Let's see how this goes here.
As long as your hearts start at the same point and then end at the same point, that's all that really matters. Perfect. Okay.
The pressure was on.
Okay, so the next thing you're gonna do is you're going to create basically this kind of a semicircle, and I'm gonna flick it a little bit like that. It's gonna be basically the shape of a lemon.
So like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Great. Okay. And starting from this point, you're going to connect it, but you're gonna make sure it touches the bottom and goes to the end. So you're gonna go like this. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want to come out a little bit.
So I know they look like lines now, but this is basically gonna be your guide. Because if I told you just, just paint a flamingo, you're gonna be like, how do we do that?
A little more.
Perfect. So I'm gonna dip into the pink, just the regular pink, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to maybe start like an inch from the side right here. Let's try to make like a little circle right here. A little pink circle. So give yourself like an inch right there, and then a little circle. Okay. Then you're gonna use more of that pink, and you're going to make sure that this line that you created here is long and a little wider than how you previously did it.
Just right from the circle here?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now your flamingo is coming to life. So now you're just gonna paint the rest of this, and then maybe you can connect that. So remember, when you are painting with acrylic, the thinner you spread the paint out and you create this really thin layer, the faster it dries, or sometimes what I like to use is I like to use a blow dryer, and that will basically speed up the drying process, but we're not using a blow dryer today. It's all about quality time for Valentine's Day. I'm basically using the same shade of pink for this entire base right here. So the reason why I'm adding another layer here is because you can kind of see some of this blue peeking through. But that's the great thing about acrylic, is that it will dry really fast. Kind of flick out the feathers right here at the end for the tail. Fingers are kind of flicked out already.
I feel like that's an advanced move.
It is. We have enough room to actually work on the wing. So here's what I do. So get some of the dark pink and create kind of what you did earlier with this little kind of a semicircle, but like a little wider. It's like a semi-oval, right? So I'm gonna go in with some of the light pink. Then I'm going to kind of do brush strokes. Eventually you kind of want it to look like this, but you don't really have to do that if you don't want to. And then mix it up if you want. And also don't be afraid to dip in some of the white as well, like just a little bit. You don't want to use too much. So then you add these fluffy feathers.
So wait, I just did the dark. Should I go back with the light pink?
Yeah, if you want. Do you want to do the feathers, or you want to simplify it?
I want to do the feathers.
You want to do the feathers? Okay. So then you can dip into some of the white and then some of the pink.
Oh no. Our white's ruined.
If you use too much, be sure to use the palette to wipe off the excess. So that's what the palette's for. It'll help you tremendously. They don't have to be perfect lines, just as long as they look fluffy. So I'm gonna get into some of the light pink as well. But just mix it up. The point here is you don't want it to be all one shade. So even, get into some of the dark pink if you want, but you don't want to load your brush up with too much paint. And especially towards the top of the wing right here, you can go and dip your brush in the white and then just add this flicking motion.
I feel like it's...
What's wrong?
I feel like I've got a
Why don't
strong neck. No, it's good.
It is a strong neck.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm gonna add more fluffy feathers.
With the white?
So let me show you this one again. So when I did this one, I kind of added multiple layers. So I would add some little white flicks and then let that dry. And then I would go back and add more layers, because the point is that you don't really want the colors to mix if the paint is always wet.
I think I need to let this dry and then...
Okay, we will be right back and we will add another layer after a few minutes. All right, so now we're ready to move on to the next step. So Dan is gonna add
a little flare.
Some flare on the wing. The key here is, as you're using different shades of pink, it doesn't matter, it's all pink, right? But you wanna wash your brush off in between, because eventually you mix the colors and then it would just look like a big blob.
Like just like this, right?
Yeah, looks good. So now that we've added our layers, we're gonna move on to the next step. We're basically done with the pink for right now. We're gonna move on to the white. And basically what we're gonna do is, let's go over this step by step. I'm gonna use some of the white. This is a little too much, okay? So I'm gonna wipe off the excess. And then you see this line, kind of where take your time. So where this circle is, and then where this line is from where you painted the flamingo's head earlier, you're gonna go over this in white, okay? Basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna create this beak right here. I'm gonna go over this pink so you don't see it. And then it's gonna be like a triangle. So have the point at the end of the canvas. And I'm just gonna cover this pink that I did. The pink was basically your guide. So some of this pink is popping a little bit, but I'm just gonna add another layer. Okay, the next step is I'm still gonna use some of the white, and I'm going to kind of in the middle right here, add this little circle, okay? And this is where the flamingo's eye is gonna go. So kind of showing you the reference, it's gonna be right here.
How's that?
Looks
Okay?
great.
You
That's
sure?
perfect.
Is that gonna work?
Yeah, it looks great.
More like an oval, but okay.
Yeah, it's more like an oval, or it could be a circle. Now we're gonna let this dry and we will be right back. Okay, now it's time to pull out your black paint. So using the pointy brush,
Pointy, okay.
I'm just going to dip a tad, a little bit. So what you will kind of notice about flamingos' beaks is they kind of bend a little bit. So I'm gonna maybe start, add a little dot right there. And here's what I'm gonna do. So this white part, I'd say maybe that's like an inch, right? Right in the middle, you're gonna add a dot there. Now here's what I'm gonna do, yeah. Now I'm going to add this kind of this curved line. Okay? And you're gonna go over some of that white that you did, but it's gonna be curved. Great. Looks great. Okay. Gonna dip. Remember, a little bit is key. Now, if you look where the white starts, right underneath the flamingo's head, also add your dot there. Okay. And now you're going to take the line from where his where the white part starts, then you're gonna trace this and go all the way to the end and then connect. Wow. Cue the Owen Wilson wow. Good. Okay, now just have your canvas straight in front of you. And then where you started in the middle, on this black right here, you're gonna drop that down. Just do one line going down.
Straight down?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's good. Okay, I'm gonna dip some more in the black, just a little bit. The great thing about using the pointed brush is you it's a little more precise. So here's what I'm gonna do now. I'm going to color this in black. Then I'm going to, I know it's a straight line here, and I'm just going to curve this a little bit. And there you go. How cool, now it's starting to look more like a flamingo. So while you're still using the pointed brush, once you finish that looks great. The eyes are actually going to be little hearts. So you do one dot and then do another dot next to it and then connect them. And if you feel like you dip too much black paint on your brush, you can always use the palette to wipe off the excess. Great, how cute is that? Okay.
Wow, look at that.
I know, so the next part is gonna be a little fun. Now I'm adding a little more, I'm loading my pointed brush a little more, and it's time to do the bow. So if you've never done a bow before, gentlemen, You're gonna make sure that your bow is right here if you have the male flamingo, and then ladies, your bow is gonna be right here. So start off by making a triangle on the side, and then you're gonna do one that looks just like this. Like basically 2 triangles stacked on top of each other. Probably gonna make that a little bigger actually. This is exciting. Are you excited?
Mm-hmm.
The flamingo is actually looking better than what we had originally done, so I'm very pleased with them.
Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna color that in. If you're feeling extra and maybe this is too easy for you as far as the triangle goes, you can always curve this out. So add this little rounded bow right here. And ladies, you can add little like just some curves here, just to make it look a little feminine.
How's this look?
Looks good. And make sure you add like a little circle in the middle for the tie, a little bow tie, seal the deal. It's a handsome flamingo. So cute. All right, that looks good.
Okay.
Okay, now wash your brush off so the paint doesn't dry. Then you're gonna go back to your flat brush. Hopefully yours is still clean because you washed it earlier because you're smart. And then here's where we're gonna use the red, and this is going to basically finish everything off. So you're going to dip into the red. I'm only using a little bit. Then you're gonna add some hearts. You're gonna add a big heart. And I like to use the side of it. I feel like I have more control whenever I'm using a flat brush. And then I think I'm gonna switch to the pointed brush to use to paint my my small heart. So I'll do maybe another one right here. And I'll do a few layers. That's cute. Perfect.
I like my smaller one better.
That looks good.
Let me just fix this good. Cool.
Awesome. There you go.
Right.
See? And then when you connect them, ta-da! They're 2 flamingos in love. But keep them 6 feet apart, you know. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We got a social distance. Or you can always put a mask on them. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Just thank you so much for taking part in this Valentine's Day virtual painting. And I hope you guys have a great Valentine's Day. Bye, y'all. And make sure when you're finished with your masterpiece, you post them to Downtown Odessa's Facebook page so that we can share them.